Hello, everyone. I'm Sibyl Starr, and I'm here to give the astrology forecast for the Aquarius New Moon of 2025. I'm calling this Revelations, Remembrance, and Rapture. All right. So we're going to start off, though, first, because it is also the beginning of the Chinese New Year, the Year of the Snake. It always begins on the Aquarius New Moon. If there's two new moons in Aquarius, then I think it's the second one. But anyway, this year there's one Aquarian new moon. Now, people who practice feng shui and different forms of Chinese astrology, they often say that the new moon actually starts on February 4th every year, but others say it starts on the new moon. So anyway, this is the year of the snake. Last year was the year of the dragon. And I think it's really appropriate because the energies of the snake are said to bring about significant changes and awakenings and helping us to shed old skin and emerge new. We're definitely in a time of completions and beginnings of where we're shedding the old so the new can be born. It's a time for spiritual exploration, creative expression, and personal transformation. It's also a year of the unraveling of the old world as we know it, so that a new world can ultimately be formed. So it's on a personal and a collective level. So let us begin, though, with the astrology. The Aquarian new moon is at 9 degrees, 51 minutes of Aquarius. It occurs on January 29th at 4:36 a.m. Pacific time. I am going to screen share with you. Okay, my buttons changed. There we go. All right. So here is the image of the Aquarius new moon. Like I said, it occurs on January 29th, 2025, 4:36 a.m. Pacific time. All right, I'm in Santa Rosa. So what we have here, we've got a stellium of planets in Aquarius. We've got four planets and um, Ceres, which is considered a dwarf planet. But we've got the sun and the moon at 9 degrees, 51 minutes of Aquarius. It is conjunct, even though it's wide, to a Mercury Pluto conjunction. Okay, and this is very significant. And we also have Ceres, the great mother, here in Aquarius. Some other things that we have going on, this new moon is in a trine to Jupiter. Jupiter's here at 11 degrees of Gemini. Is going to go direct in early February, like February 3rd, something like that. What else have we got going on? Of course, we've still got Mars retrograde, and Mars is just really having a lot of impact. And we'll be talking about what that means. And Mars is at 21 degrees of Cancer, and it's in a square to Chiron as well as Eris. They're both there. So they're both being activated. Okay. Chiron's a little closer because Mars is moving retrograde, so it's going to come into an exact opposition. Mars is retrograde, but will go direct on February 23rd. All right, so it will go direct in this lunar cycle at 17 degrees of Cancer. All right, then the other really big aspect that we have is Mars is also trine Saturn, so we'll be talking about that. And it's moving closer into a closer trine with Saturn. But we have this beautiful Venus Neptune North Node conjunction in Pisces, which this is some really beautiful energy. So we definitely have some challenges this month, some places of where we're really being pushed to grow, and some other places where Spirit is just reminding us that we are never alone. All right, so now let's talk about what all of this means. All right, so the new moon in Aquarius. The new moon, of course, we know marks the beginning of the lunar month, which is a 29 to 30 day cycle. and represents a time to start something new, plant seeds, and set intentions for the future. Aquarius is visionary, revolutionary. It's a rebel, a heretic. Aquarius asks us to think outside of the box as well as just simply think for ourselves. It's humanitarian, and it's also can be very contrarian and eccentric, and just as they say, marches to the beat of their own drummer. This new moon encourages us to welcome new possibilities, move forward into the unknown and unfamiliar, and create a reality aligned with our truth. Aquarius is very much aligned with inner truth. Aquarius brings science and spirituality together with a deeper understanding of the quantum field and how to work with it. I really like this image behind me because that's what it really reminds me of. Aquarius is about spiritual science, how we bring them together. And it's about the exploration of the mysteries of the cosmos. Aquarius, as we step into the Aquarian age and rejoin our galactic family, where there is so much to remember as well as to learn about who we are, what the cosmos is about, and our relationship to it. Okay, Aquarius, I always love this. I have many planets in Aquarius, and I'm very connected to Delphi, the Oracle at Delphi. And there is a motto that was inscribed on the temple there that said, "Know thyself." And I feel like that is so much about what Aquarius is about. It's a process of the discovery of our true self, of our authentic self. So it's not only the mysteries of the cosmos, it's the mysteries of who we are and how we fit into that cosmos. And the other quote that I've always liked so much is, "To thine own self be true." We know this comes from Shakespeare, from Hamlet. And so it's about always being true to ourselves, even if we have to live without the approval of others. No one else is having our experience. You know, each one of us have come to have our own experience. And so Aquarius often asks us to step out of the need for approval of others. Okay. All right. Its ruling planet, Uranus, awakens us to our own genius so that we can give that gift to the world. All right. Uh, this new moon is trine Jupiter, and Jupiter, of course, is king of the gods, brings opportunities and blessings. And this new moon trine Jupiter in Gemini is bringing blessings through knowledge and understanding. And it's the understanding that in the quantum field, well, many levels of understanding in the quantum field, but with Jupiter specifically, it's about the attitude of gratitude and how, when we walk with that attitude, how it is reflected back to us. All right. Now we have this new moon is conjunct Pluto and Mercury in Aquarius. So Mercury, of course, is god of the mind. And some say it's exalted in Aquarius, not traditionally, but many, I would say, more modern astrologers believe that Mercury really excels there. Okay. And Mercury in Aquarius is a visionary that thinks outside of the box and is willing to entertain many possibilities. Mercury in Aquarius asks us to think for yourself while questioning old dogma and ways of thinking. Aquarius is a heretical sign and is also revolutionaries willing to go outside of the box and explore ideas that, let's just say, the status quo finds questionable. And yet that's how we grow our boundaries. Many who have many scientists and innovators either have Aquarius or Uranus strong in their chart. All right. Pluto, of course, is god of death, rebirth, and death, transformation, and rebirth. Pluto pushes us to evolve. When Pluto is around, he's saying, grow, grow. And he says, evolve or die. And, or he also says evolve or repeat. If you don't get it, you're going to have to keep doing it until you learn it. Okay. And so Pluto in Aquarius brings with it a deep authenticity of self. Once again, that deep know thyself. The only way out is in. It asks us to unplug from mass consciousness, to think for yourself without the need for approval of others. And as we do, we transform the collective consciousness. Pluto in Aquarius is about a revolution in consciousness and quantum alchemy, understanding the personal transformative power of energy, consciousness, and matter, understanding quantum physics as the bridge to a new reality and the Aquarian age. And of course, Aquarius is so much about group energy, and Pluto is about power. It's about self-empowerment ultimately. But it shows us first all the places where we're disempowered so we can make more empowering choices. And with Pluto in Aquarius, it's going to be showing us that we are so much more powerful when we have done our inner work and then come together in a group in this that is in the same resonant field. Because if we don't do the inner work, the group can devolve to the lowest common denominator, which is fear. And one of the shadows of Pluto in Aquarius is a herd or even a mob mentality. And we're seeing a little bit of that going on right now, I think. Anyway, it's also about power of the people. We're going to be seeing these grassroots movements and creating a whole new system. Pluto in Aquarius is also showing us the corruption of our systems coming to light. I've spoken about this before, that when Pluto transited Sagittarius, it was showing us the deep corruption in our religious institutions. And when Pluto transited Capricorn, it was showing us the deep corruptions in the institutions that hold up our society, our culture, such as our government, our political system, and that particular leadership as well. Now in Aquarius, it really even goes deeper into the systems that our culture operates on. Okay, this paradigm operates on, and kind of a lot of the flawed thinking underlying it so that we can make different choices. And also with Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto, like I said, is death and rebirth. And Aquarius can mean the masses, whereas Leo is like the king and the ruler. It's opposite sign. Aquarius is the people, but it can also mean massive amounts of people. Okay, the masses, I would say. So we may be seeing mass death, a lot of people crossing over, and I think everyone is recognizing this. We have this increased light coming in, and many people's bodies just can't hold that light. They're not well enough, and so they are leaving to help us from the other side. And of course, there are many other things going on as well. But when Mercury and Pluto come together, this deep, and Pluto always wants deep honesty and truth. Like I said, authenticity of self. And so revelations of deep truth, both in the world around us and in ourselves. That's what one of the meanings here. Pluto requires self-honesty and a deep level of truth that is aligned with the soul. Things you may have known, but we're unwilling to acknowledge. We often lie to ourselves. That's one of the things we do, or pretend we are happy when we are not. And it's really getting in touch with what is our deepest truth. And things you may have known, but were unwilling to acknowledge about your life and your world. And they may be some hard pills to swallow. It's like truth medicine. But when we know the truth, then we really do know what to do. I feel like it's also the opening of the third eye, and being able to read between the lines to know what is true and what is not. I feel like this is, and it's deep problem solving skills. It's like once we can really, really clearly see what the issue is, like I said, we know how to solve the problem. So there is, I feel like as these truths are being revealed, we're able to hold it in our hearts and know this is true. Then it shows us how everything is working and how we can resolve the issues in the way that is in our highest good. And I think this is personally as well as on a collective level. There is a quote from Rumi that says, "That which is false troubles the heart, but the truth brings joyous tranquility. Deep truth brings us to a state of peace, even if it is a difficult truth." Okay. Some are saying that the spell has been broken, that we have been under a spell. And we've been under a spell for a long time, but I think the last 4 years has been even stronger when the pandemic came. And so what has been hidden will be revealed, and many people will now start to see and understand. Like I said, I think people's third eye is opening, and their ability to see through, to read between the lines, to know what is true. The veil of illusion is falling, and it is falling fast. And I just want to give this one example. For example, uh, this is the censorship that has been removed from social media, and a whole lot more truth is actually being revealed, as well as many untruths. It is our job as empowered people to discern what is true and what is not. As they said, with the fact checkers there, especially on Facebook, somebody needed to fact check the fact checkers, as they were frequently purveyors of disinformation, which means it was intentional misinformation. But it's really our job as empowered people to be able uh, to discern that. And we don't need someone telling us what is true and what is not, an outside source. The truth lives within. We know it and we feel it. Okay. And I just wanted to also point out that the chart of the US has Mercury opposite Pluto, which can indicate censorship. Those who have the power of blocking truth and are not blocking the truth from coming out and then telling us untruths. But the goal of always Mercury and Pluto together is about speaking truth to power, and it includes all aspects between Mercury and Pluto. It's important for each of us to find our voice and to speak up, but to be sure it is truth, not just an opinion. And there is a difference. An opinion which could be based on a faulty belief. Each of us need to do our own discernment process around truth. Okay. Many more revelations are coming, and maybe ideas or belief that you hold dear may be shown to be false. But once we acknowledge what is really true, then we can really start working on the solutions. And hard truths can be said with kindness. As they say, kindness is the highest form of intelligence, and it is always true. Okay. All right. Also, there will be revelations about who we really are. We are shedding layers of the false self so the true self can emerge. This is the paradigm shift. Revelation is not just about we, I'm going to say about you, each one of us. It is about each one of us, who you really are. I love this quote. This is from Adyashanti. The greatest spiritual practice is to be real. It is also the scariest thing most human beings will ever do. Just to be real, to drop pretense. It's all the pretense that keeps us in our own little dream state. This is the shedding that we are going through, to drop things that of our false self, any pretenses, because it's really getting to the core of who we are. Okay. And as we do, it will lead us to the remembrance of our deeper self and who we really are as a being of consciousness and light. And as Williamson said many years ago, it is not our darkness that we are afraid of, but our light. And this is the biggest spell that is being broken. To remember our own true divine nature, and that we are not separate from source. We've never left the source of all creation. We are having an experience as a face of creator, as an emanation of creator and of Mother Earth and of the sun. All three. We are an emanation of the source of all creation, as well as Mother Earth and the sun. Okay. And when we remember who we are, we will remember why we came, our soul mission. And the Sabian symbol for this new moon, I think, is just super important. It's this. And for those who don't know what a Sabian symbol is, I'll tell you again. It was a psychic named Elsie Wheeler who back in the 1930s had a vision for every degree of the zodiac. And it can often really help understand, as above, so below, what is trying to say, what the astrology is trying to say. All right, so this is it. A person who had for some time become the embodiment of an ideal is made to realize that as a person, he is not this ideal. I think it's just exactly what we've been talking about. You're not who you thought you were, who you have been told to be, and even what is ideal. We are getting to the truth. It's an awakening to the truth of who you really are. All right. Now, this Mercury-Pluto conjunction is going over the stars of Aquila, the Eagle, Altar being one. And of course, the Eagle, and the Eagle is actually one of the symbols for Aquarius. It's so Scorpio as well, but also Aquarius. And Pluto in Aquarius can really be thought of as eagle medicine. And the eagle is such a courageous spirit. They go right into the storm. When there's a storm coming, they fly right into the storm so that they can rise above it. And as we fly into the storm, it says fly into the storm, raise your vibration so that you can rise above the storm and not involve yourself in the drama. It's so important to not engage in drama if you can help it, to step back. But as you do, you see the bigger picture. And as you see the bigger picture, you come to a bigger understanding of what is happening, why it is happening, and all of the pieces fit together. And the star Altair is about hearing the celestial call of your own soul mission. It's a time as we are moving into these higher frequencies that we step into our soul mission. Once again, when we remember who we are, we will remember why we came. All right. Now, the planet Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius and is going direct on January 30th. He's been retrograde for the last 5 months. And when Uranus is retrograde, it goes within and it creates internal changes. When Uranus goes direct, the universe starts reflecting those changes back to us in the external world. You might have felt like I've been working on this, I've been doing all this inner work, these changes, it's not showing up. Well, when Uranus goes direct, it's going to start reflecting it back to us. It's an awakening of the true nature of reality and the truth of who you really are. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is Mars in Cancer. And Mars is in Cancer retrograde, square Chiron in Aries, and trine Saturn in Pisces. All right, so Mars, of course, Mars is the warrior planet. Mars represents our will and how we use it. It's where we take action. So it's about free will choice because where we actually act on something is what we have chosen, okay? Mars is about courage, passion, and life force energy. And to have courage, we need to walk through the fires of our own fears. So Mars, when Mars shows up, it's a catalyst. Things start happening and things are happening. Okay. And Mars also brings up conflict, how we deal with conflict, because, the opposite of Mars rules Aries and the opposite is Libra. And Libra is about balance. And so unresolved conflict can keep us in a very disharmonious state. So when Mars comes along, it's time to deal with stuff. And it can also bring up anger. Okay. Anger. All right. And aggression. Okay. Now, Mars in Cancer. Mars is transiting retrograde in Cancer. And in Cancer, Mars is sensitive and moody, can be very defensive. And it's where we feel the need to defend to defend who or what we love. And we're certainly seeing a lot of that in the field right now. People People feeling that those they care about are threatened, okay? And it's very emotionally turbulent times where we might be more reactive. Now, when Mars is retrograde, is when it is closest to the Earth and has a very strong impact. And Mars retrograde asks us to slow down and take a break from the action. Take a deep breath and feel what is coming up before reacting. Mars direct is very reactionary. Mars retrograde really asks for a response and not as much of a reaction, because we can react hastily, and that can be very dangerous with such high levels of anger in the field. It's also time to reassess what you want, your goals and your direction in life. But be aware of making any decisions based in fear or anger, because they can certainly get you off of your path. Decisions made based there. I've been hearing about people wanting to leave the country, doing all of this, and those are all fear-based and anger-based choices. Get really clear before you actually take action on that. Is this really, wait until Mars goes direct and then make those decisions. You'll have a little more clarity, okay? And it's time to get in touch with any old hurts or anger that we are carrying around. Mars is also what is called out of bounds, which means it's kind of further out than its regular orbit, and it's a little harder to control. The energy is harder to control, and it takes Mars energy to extremes. It can have extreme boldness and courage, or extreme violence and anger. And there have been some very bold moves, I would say, taken by our new president here in the US, whether you agree with them or not. Some I do, some I don't, but they definitely could be called bold. And like I said, there could also be increased violence and aggression at this time. Uh, Mars is square Chiron at 19 degrees of Aries, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So some of those old wounds and hurts are really coming to the surface. We may be exceptionally triggered right now. And if these things, if they come up, know, and especially if the trigger is anger, that's usually what it is, that anger lives in your heart. And as you own your anger, it is alerting you to what is out of balance in your world. I saw this quote and I thought it was really good. It said, "Be grateful for your triggers, for they point to where you are still not free. It's part of the pain body." Okay. And be careful of what you are actually putting out into the field, because are you contributing to a vibration of anger and divisiveness? There is so much of it in the field right now, and it's really important to not participate in it. And when you own your own anger without projecting it onto someone else, it can be used as a great motivator for creating change. Okay. Even in these emotionally turbulent times, this Mars event is ultimately about healing our hearts by pushing us to become more self-empowered. When our heart is healed, it allows us to really get in touch with what is most important to us and what we're passionate about. When we act out of anger or impulsiveness, it may put us on a path that is not really ours. Chiron in Aries says, focus on healing your self-confidence, personal will, personal sovereignty, and fears of taking initiative or facing challenges. It's about self-empowerment. And personal sovereignty is where we say no and where we say yes. Because where we say yes is what really determines our life right now, is the actions we take and how it unfolds. What do you want your life to look like? That is where you say yes. Okay. All right. Mars is trine Saturn. And Saturn is a more stabilizing force. So this is a really nice aspect to have in the midst of this what they say, the energy is dense and intense, that we're moving through. Dense, intense, and turbulent, emotionally turbulent. So Mars trine Saturn gives you the strength, ambition, and perseverance to take on hard tasks and complete them. It gives patience and self-discipline. And it can create an excellent field to follow through on something you're passionate about once you are clear. We're still in the process of getting clear about that, although you may know. But my thought is that when Mars goes direct, things will be getting a little clearer. And Mars goes direct, like I said, on February 23rd at 17 degrees of Cancer. All right. The last aspect we're going to talk about is the Neptune, Venus, and North Node in Pisces. So there's a lot of difficult energy in the field, but there's also a lot of love pouring in if we allow ourselves to receive it, to open our heart and receive it. Now, Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac and often brings endings. And especially Neptune in Pisces, a lot of endings. There's a lot of endings, so the new beginnings can occur. And it may represent the final phase of a journey and the completion of a cycle. And when it's aligned with Venus, we may have an opportunity to release illusions we hold onto about love and relationships and let go of everything that prevents us from moving through life with a fully open heart. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus and represents when human love becomes divine love. And it is conjunct the North Node, which the North Node is the way forward. Neptune and Venus in Pisces are conjunct the North Node in Pisces. And we've got the whole next 18 months with the North Node in Pisces. So we're still getting, and we've also got Neptune in Pisces, moves into Aries. When is that? The end of March for about 6 months, and then comes back for one more short time in Pisces. Okay, we won't see after the last transit of Neptune in Pisces, which will be in early 2026. We won't see it again for another, I think it's 144 years. It may be longer than that. Anyway, it says that the way forward is to open our hearts to the unconditional love of the universe. And as we do, love one another, for we are all an expression of Creator, Mother Earth, and the Sun. This is a time for forgiving ourselves and others and letting go of what prevents us from having faith in ourselves and the beneficence of the universe. The way forward is to remember our own divinity and that we are part of something greater than ourselves. I recently heard from a spiritual teacher that our solar system is a school for angels, and that the goal for humanity is to be the 10th level in the angelic realm, that's really what we're doing here. So live in your heart, not in your mind. Connect your love from your heart to the heart of the earth and the heart of the sun. And it is about tuning into the frequency of love through forgiveness and compassion. And of course, I've used this analogy before about we are living in a 110 voltage, and the 220 voltage is what is coming in, these higher frequency vibrations. And to me, Pluto in Aquarius is the transformer, because Pluto brings in, actually Neptune and Pluto both bring in forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. I think, and once we can forgive, that's when we can let the love in and let all these old hurts and grudges and all these places where we're triggered, just let them go. And forgive. Now, that doesn't mean you have to forget. It's not like it never happened, but we're hurting ourselves more than anyone else when we hold on to these things. And as we love and forgive ourselves and others, it ripples out into the field and changes the frequency of the world. It allows us to move into states of bliss and rapture. When we are in alignment with the unconditional love of the universe. And it doesn't happen a lot. It can be momentary. It's those moments when you really let go of the pain body that you're carrying around. And we can align with all that is the Great Mother. And so initially, these can be momentary. But the more we hold the frequency of love, the longer those moments will last. And they certainly come in meditation and in places where we are deeply connected to Mother Nature. And to know that God is a frequency that exists within you. Tune in. It is the frequency of love. And this is the most important work we can do right now, is to transmute the energy of divisiveness, hate, and anger with love. And this wonderful quote from Martin Luther King is that love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. And that's what we want to do as we move into unity consciousness. Love heals everything, and love is all there is. Keep your heart open during these turbulent times and allow it to touch others. And remember, the heart is the only way. All right. Wishing you much love and joy in these tumultuous and changing times. If you like this video, please check like and subscribe. And if you're interested in a reading, I do have a discount going right now, and the information is in the description box. Wishing you all a wonderful month, much love, many blessings, and namaste to all.